we're getting to the end of the year, and there's not much going on, except it's Star Wars week.
Star Wars.
Hello, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is episode 54 of the Pop Culture Cult. And we've talked about this, how about towards the end of the year, we get the news cycle kind of slows down a little bit. And no, fuck that noise. The Star Wars premiere was on Saturday from the Shrine Theater. We watched the red carpet. That's actually one of the few red carpets we actually watched during the year. It was cool to seeing everybody, and Anthony Carponi and Andy Gutierrez, who are the hosts of the Star Wars show, were the hosts of this, and they did a really, really good job. And
they did.
They got to interview everybody, and then just all the pictures, everybody on the red carpet on social media and stuff, and then we shut social media off.
Yes. Well, I did.
I'm trying. I'm running a freaking internet show here. I have to
do like Mark said and filter out anything that
says Last Jedi or Star Wars or anything like that, or Snoke theories or pork recipes or
your Snoke theory is wrong.
It sucks. Yeah. I will suggest, though, go watch the Star Wars 5-Way from the movie Trivia Schmodown. That was really cool.
That was good.
That was posted on Friday on the Collider. Go to Collider YouTube channel. You'll find it there. So we have some stuff, a lot of movie news. The Golden Globes nominations came out today. We'll spend a lot of time of me screaming at decisions made by the Golden Globes because I don't understand what the hell they're doing. And then we would like to do a review to start off with, though, of Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And the longest title since the shooting of James by the coward Tom Ford. We went and saw this last week. Movie Pass has been amazing for us. We're getting to catch up on a bunch of movies that we normally wouldn't see. And that'll be a discussion we'll have more about with the Golden Globes. But overall, what did you think of this movie?
I thought it was good. It's interesting. So it's good. I'm not sad we went and saw it.
No.
You had said when we left that you weren't sure you want to see it again, and I kind of agree. I might want to watch it one more time, but it's not. It's like a week in the life of a person.
I've been trying to figure out how to clarify what this movie. Some movies are heist movies or superhero movies or whatever. This is not a character study movie. This is a human emotion story. It's about the only way I can come across with it.
Well, and thinking about it, so there's a lot of people in this movie that you don't like, but then they have these redeeming qualities, and so then you do like them, and it's very much like real life people. Right. I mean, all of them, you're like, you're an ass, and then they do something, you're like, okay,
I understand why you made that decision.
It's just weird. There was nobody you could be like, this is the bad guy. I mean, even what the heck is his name?
Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. Yeah. You're like, through the first 2/3 of the movie, you hate him, and then you
start feeling for him, and it's just I'm struggling with this movie because I really liked it. I thought the performances were really, really well done, and the storytelling process I thought was really well done too. But at the end of the movie, I'm not going to spoil it. I mean, it's not really a spoilery kind of.
There's no beginning, middle, and end to this movie.
It's just here's the day in the life, like you were saying. Like, here's the story, and I'm struggling with how I feel about this movie because I just didn't feel satisfied at the end.
But that's life,
and that's kind of there's a scene at the end that I wanted them to end on, and then they spent like another 2 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think...
I don't think that was wrong either, but...
Yeah. I mean, it gave you just a little bit more I can't say closure because it doesn't give you closure, but it gave you just a little bit more.
A little bit more feeling, or
Just of where they went and where they were going and what they were doing. It just gave you just a little bit more. I didn't hate that they didn't end it where you thought they should or whatever.
Right.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter whether they ended it there or at the end. You still don't get any closure.
Frances McDormand was really, really good.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Sam Rockwell is really good in it. Like, why is not Sam Rockwell and Gary Oldman getting nominated for fucking everything?
Yeah.
I mean, just whatever they're in. Actually, I'd like to see them in a movie together.
Yeah.
That could be. There's probably out there. They've both been in like a gazillion movies.
Probably
somewhere. Somehow they haven't done the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon with each other yet. Fucking Woody from Cheers.
Matt, no. Matt.
We are terrible people.
Matt. All right.
No, no.
No, it's not him?
No. We are terrible. I have to look it up. Anyways, is awesome. He has cancer. In the movie. Why are we? He's in the Ape movie. He plays freaking LBJ. We'll think of it later. All the performances are really, really well done, and the way it's directed is really kind of interesting too, because it's that continuous storyline and everything. For my overall score, it's either a 6 for me or an 8. There's no in between. I can't figure out if I want to give it a 6 because I didn't like the way the story process was done, but yet I want to give it an 8 because I do like the story process and I do like the performances. So I'm going back and forth, and I'm trying to stall for time to make my decision, even though it's been a week since I've seen it.
Okay, I'm gonna give it an 8 because I loved everybody's performances.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
I think I'm gonna give it an 8, but here's the thing. I don't even know if it'll make my top 10.
Yeah, no. Top 10 is kind of that way for different reasons, right? But
my top, as I'm getting towards the end of the year, it's my 10 favorite movies of the year. So there might be like a 5 or a 6 in there. Like Geostorm might sneak in just because of the ridiculousness and everything.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying it's going to, but it's my favorite movies. But if we're picking top movies of the year, then it would probably have be in my top 10. So that's just kind of how I'm feeling right now.
Cardio. Rule number 1, cardio. I'm trying to jostle the name out of you.
I'll get to it. So we had 2 trailers drop since our last show last week. We're going to talk about one because you can only talk about the other one as a secondhand trailer. Sunday, so we had the Star Wars premiere on Saturday. Then Sunday, they had this Facebook Live event where fans got together and they sat down with Steven Spielberg.
Woody Harrelson.
I
got it. I win.
We need a drink before the show. So back to what I was talking about. So they sat down with Steven Spielberg and Ernest Cline, and they talked about Ready Player One, and then they did a Q&A, and then they showed the first official full trailer. Not the teaser one that we got from San Diego, but the first full trailer, and we have both lost our goddamn minds.
There's so much.
We just, before we came in to do our show, we watched the Nerdists do a breakdown of 25 Easter eggs that they found. And I know that's not everything in the 2.5 minute trailer.
Yeah.
And they say every 2.5 seconds there's a Easter egg or something like that. Yeah. And there's not even an Easter egg in the first 30 seconds when they're in the stacks for the trailer. But
right.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It is. And you have to, I mean, I've watched it like 3 or 4 times now, and then watching the Nerdist thing, I was like, oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah.
And so
I watched we both talked about it. We watched it separately, but we both watched the trailer reaction from Late to the Party, and they are like us where they've both read the books and they freaking Vanessa's got an Artemis shirt.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous, actually. But they also talked about how there's just all these Easter eggs in your first viewing. You just can't. You can't catch it all because there's just stuff in the background, and you're just like, what the? Is that a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Wait, back up. But it's just I'm super excited for the movie.
Yes. Yep. I think that I'm hearing that the writer
Ernest Cline.
Okay, so I believe he also is writing or helping write the screenplay.
Yes, he did.
And he has confirmed that there will be changes.
Yes.
Now, whether those are, I mean, you can tell from the trailer, it doesn't look like, I don't know if this is spoilers or not, but they blow up the stacks in the trailer. So you know that they blow up the stacks. Yeah. He goes to an apartment. I haven't really seen that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're going to do any of that. And then the IOI car chase thing isn't really in the book either. And then they might bring in, because of copyrights or legalities, they might not bring in some of the 80s characters, but they might bring in some others because it's Steven Spielberg and he's got access to some other ones.
Iron Giant's a big part in both the trailers.
Yeah.
He's not even in the book at all. But
no, not that I remember.
But that was a Spielberg movie, right?
Right. So he's got the rights to that.
Somebody pointed out today that it makes a whole lot of sense that Spielberg is the one who's directing this, because Spielberg is essentially the reason why this book was done, is because Ernest Cline was such a Spielberg fan of not just the stuff that he directed, but all the stuff that he helped produce and everything during the 80s.
Yeah, he was a culture icon. I mean, his movies were culture icons of the 80s, like E.T. and
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. He produced
it.
Close Encounters, and like you think of the 80s, you think of Steven Spielberg movies.
Yeah.
So
and somehow Will Wheaton has to be in there.
Yeah,
somehow.
When I hear Miles Teller talk, I'm like, it's supposed to be Will Wheaton. It's
we both did the audiobook.
Yeah,
and Will Wheaton reads it, and he's
it's
great
perfect.
At it.
Yeah,
and there's a book. If you haven't read the book, read the book. If you're over 25 up, you should, and you're into the geek culture stuff.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna know a bunch of the references.
Yeah.
There's some of the anime stuff that we just don't know because anime. But Will Wheaton reads the book. Well, there's a section in the book where Will Wheaton is actually the president of the Oasis.
Yeah,
I'm not giving away anything here. And he kind of, when he's reading it, he kind of like, you could hear the smile on his face.
Yeah.
When he was saying. Ernest Cline did at that Q&A did say that he is writing a sequel to Ready Player One that they are looking at to make in a movie. So
that'll be interesting. I'm not sure.
I'm interested. Yeah, his second book, Armada, is essentially The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it wasn't nearly as good as Ready Player One. But,
we'll see.
We'll see. So we have to talk about that trailer because it's amazing. And then the I won't say giant disappointment, but it didn't live up to what I was hoping to with Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
That came out this week. I also did a trailer reaction to that. I'll tag those two to the end of this episode. It just... I liked it because it's monsters eating people or chasing people, and then the monsters are getting chased by something bigger than them, which is the volcano on the island. But it just kind of seems paint by numbers-y a little bit.
It wasn't anything new and exciting. It was, I mean, we'll go and we'll enjoy it.
We'll have fun with it, yeah.
But, they're back in the hamster ball, and they've got a spin on it. They go into the water instead of off into the jungle or whatever. But it's it doesn't necessarily seem like anything new and groundbreaking with the story, which it's Jurassic Park world, and so
if they re-edit that trailer, and when Bryce
Dallas
Howard is sitting with Chris Pratt, and she's trying to convince him to go back to the island.
Yeah.
They need to cut to a third-person shot from Lost. We have to go back. We back, and then they cut back, and it's the two of them like looking at each other back and forth. We have to go back. Somebody has to. It has to be somebody on the internet needs to get on that. Come on, edit that shit together. I don't have the editing software for it yet, but I liked the trailer. I'm intrigued. I really liked Lost World, or not Lost World, Jurassic World. I really liked it was. It wasn't, earth-shattering new stuff or whatever.
No.
But I had fun with it. And it made $1 billion. So, of course, they're going to make a sequel.
It felt different from the very first Jurassic Park, right? It wasn't just a modern-day retelling of that story. There wasn't enough of a difference, to make it feel like it was a new story. But this one just feels like they're retelling
The Lost World.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It was just a teaser trailer, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, we're gonna get to the Golden Globes now, and we are going to be forthcoming with some of the things that we know because we've seen some of the movies, and we're gonna be, we're gonna tell you, hey, we're not gonna see this, or we haven't seen it yet, that kind of thing. Like Shape of Water, we're still trying to go see it.
I don't think
Artist.
Shape of Water is not going to be available for us until after the first of the year.
That's true. Disaster Artist.
We're hopefully going to go see tomorrow.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. It might be like 3 Billboards where we tried 3 times to go see it.
Right.
So we're not do everything, of course, because we'll be here for an hour and a half.
Right.
But so best motion picture, it's the Golden Globes. So you have drama and then the music. Comedy category, so there's 2 different categories, right? So for best motion picture drama, we got Call Me by Your Name, Dunkirk, The Post, Shape of Water, 3 Billboards.
Right.
No 2049. No. What was
no
it?
Logan.
No. Like we'll get into Logan and 2049 in a minute. And then the music comedy, we got Disaster Artist, Get Out, The Greatest Showman, I, Tonya, and Lady Bird. Okay, so we have 10 nominees for Best Picture, either in the drama category or music or comedy category. Overall, Get Out is not a comedy, motherfuckers. Listen.
Okay, but no. I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's best motion picture, musical or comedy. So you could say motion picture, musical, comedy, but they do the same thing for the drama.
Do you think? Yeah. So, I
Get Out's not a comedy.
Get Out's not a comedy.
Just because It's Key, or is it Peele?
It was Peele.
Just because Peele wrote it.
And there's funny parts in it. I mean, we laughed out loud at it, but it's not. It's a social commentary horror film.
Yeah,
and that's
at the least, it's a suspense thriller.
Yeah. But no 2049. No Big Sick.
No Big Sick.
Dunkirk got in,
and Dunkirk got in because the Kevin Spacey movie. No. That's what I heard.
It's in there. The performances are
okay, but I heard that the reason why Dunkirk got into the best motion picture, was because they booted the Kevin Spacey movie out.
Well, then why did he get nominated for director? Here we go with this is the argument I want to have with about the Golden Globes. Best director is Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water. Martin McDonagh for 3 Billboards, Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Steven Spielberg for The Post, and Ridley Scott for All the Money in the World. They are reshooting that fucking movie right now. It's being re-edited, and it's up for. Are they giving him a courtesy?
I don't know. Well,
are they basing it off everything that happened from the?
Doesn't it have to be in limited release before the end of the year?
For the Golden Globes, for the Oscars, yes, but for the Golden Globes, I don't know.
Okay.
Now. I know that All the Money in the World did a couple of the festivals earlier in the year.
But that was with Kevin Spacey.
Right,
not with Christopher Plummer.
Which is part of the problem I'm having with this. You're going to nominate a movie that you saw earlier in the year that has been completely changed.
Well, not completely. They did 2 weeks worth of reshoots.
Okay, it's been changed, and Christopher Plummer, down the list, got nominated for his role. How do you nominate for a person who they haven't even shown the movie of his performance?
I don't know. Somebody from the Golden Globes was sitting on set while they were filming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see this movie because of all the stuff that happened and how they refilmed it, and the story's awesome.
And the Three Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. When we went to see that, they had
the updated trailer.
A trailer,
yeah,
and it was completely different.
Yeah,
a completely
now it's like
different
a spy thriller.
Yeah, it was like the first trailer was so slow, and then this one was just like, dun dun dun.
Yeah, it's like is this a Bond movie? I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
They
crazy.
reshot a Bond movie apparently. Best female performance in a drama: Jessica Chastain, Sally Hawkins, Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for Three Billboards, Meryl Streep for The Post. She's going to win, and Michelle Williams for All the Money in the World. I don't understand. Actress Margot Robbie got in for I, Tanya. I still trying to figure out how that's a comedy. Unless they do a musical part.
It is ice skating.
It's true. I'm just skipping through a bunch of stuff. Octavia Spencer for Shape of Water for supporting role.
Yeah.
Performance by an actor in a drama. Daniel Day-Lewis. He rolled out of bed. Tom Hanks for The Post. Gary Oldman for The Darkest Hour. He's playing Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
And I really everybody who said anything said it's really, really good. And then Denzel Washington, he rolled out of bed. Franco is in for actor in a musical. I'm just gonna start calling it just actor in a comedy because musical. So James Franco, Hugh Jackman,
Ansel Elgort for Baby Driver.
Steve Carell for Battle of the Sexes. We never did see Battle of the Sexes, did we?
No, we kept. Yeah.
And then Daniel Kaluuya, who the main guy from Get Out. Kaluuya. Easy names, people.
I think it might be like African.
Yeah, probably. Christopher Plummer for Best Supporting Actor in a drama. All the Money in the World. I don't understand. Have I said I don't understand? But Sam Rockwell for Three Billboards, which is totally worth it. Armie Hammer is probably going to win for Call Me by Your Name. William Dafoe also, and then Richard Jenkins for Shape of Water. So Shape of Water, I'm seeing a trend. Shape of Water,
Three Billboards,
Call Me by Your Name, and then motion picture, screenplay, original score, original song, the Home from Ferdinand. The bull.
Yeah,
it's in Remember Me from Coco. So that's awesome.
Well, it's not like, I mean, cartoons are the only thing that are musicals anymore. Unless, I'm surprised. When is that P.T. Barnum movie?
That's The Greatest Showman. That comes out the 22nd.
Was that?
Christmas Day?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. This is me. Okay.
Yeah, that's Christmas Day or the 22nd or something like that.
It's the only musical movie I can think of all year.
Right. So, the Oscars going to love it because after La La Land won pretty much everything last year. Because,
right. Well, they like Hugh Jackman in Logan Wolverine movies.
They will probably nominate him for The Greatest Showman just out of spite of the superhero movies. And, oh, by the way, they came out in like February. And so nothing is going to get nominated for the Oscars before.
He should get nominated twice. He should get nominated for Logan and for The Greatest Showman. And then he can go up against himself.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Best animated movie, it's going to Coco. Foreign film, nobody's cared. Okay, so then with the TV stuff, best TV dramas, The Crown, Game of Thrones, Handmaid's Tale, Stranger Things, and This Is Us. We're going to have a hard time with this category.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard really good things about Handmaid's Tale. I've heard really good things about This Is Us. We don't have Hulu, and we don't watch This Is Us. But I love The Crown. I love Game of Thrones, and I love Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Now, putting up Game of Thrones and Stranger Things against The Crown, I'm going to boot The Crown out. I loved it, but I'm going to boot The Crown out. So then
This season,
Game of Thrones and Stranger Things.
This season, we did a full review of Stranger Things, and we did episode by episode reviews of Game of Thrones. I think the season overall of Game of Thrones is better.
Yeah.
I loved the Stranger Things season 2, but I think overall the entire story arc and the performances and everything for Game of Thrones this season was just so good. This was the season to set up the last season, and the previous season was a kind of a moving everything on the chessboard. This was the season where those pieces kind of got pulled off, and then the final game is the final season.
Yeah.
So best TV series comedy, Blackish. The most racist name since Fresh Off the Boat.
Fresh Off the Boat, yeah.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Everybody says that's really funny.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon. We should watch it.
Master of None. Smilf. Again, I don't understand. And Will and Grace. I'm going to be very gentle about how I word this. I find it awesome that Will and Grace in Full House have come back to...
It's going to be Will and Grace.
But are you kidding me with Will and Grace and Full House coming back and we can't get another second season of Firefly?
Nope.
Are you kidding me?
It's going to be Will and Grace. Will and Grace
is
run everything when it was out the first
time. Limited series, Fargo, The Sinner, actress in a TV series, actress in a comedy. I'm skipping ahead because there's something I want to get to. So, performance by an actress in a limited series. Jessica Biel for The Sinner, which was on TBS, TNT, something like that. She's been blackballed, like pretty much by everybody in Hollywood until she got this job, and then she got nominated for a Golden Globe, which is just like a giant like to everybody out there. But she's also against Nicole Kidman, Jessica Lange, Susan Sarandon, and Reese Witherspoon. Good luck. And then performance by an actor in a drama series, Jason Bateman in Ozark. Apparently Ozark is awesome. We haven't watched it.
Well, it might be the next thing I watch on the treadmill.
Bob Odenkirk again for Better Call Saul. He's got to win at some point in time. And then we got performance by an actor in a limited series, motion picture made for television. These are just the nominees, and you tell me if this is the Golden Globes for limited TV series or the Oscars. Jeffrey Rush, Ewan McGregor, Kyle MacLachlan, Jude Law, and Robert Downey Jr.
No, Robert De Niro.
Oh, Robert. I'm sorry, something came up over here. So Robert De Niro. Is this the Oscars?
Apparently, making the switch back and forth between TV and movies has become a lot easier than it used to be.
Apparently, yeah. I just Wizard of Lies, The Young Pope, Jude Law and The Young Pope, Twin Peaks, Fargo, and it's awesome that all of them can do both back and forth. An actor in a supporting role in a limited series, David Harbour for Stranger Things, which is just awesome that a journeyman actor kind of stumbles into this role, and now he's just like, he's killing it in that role.
Yeah,
and he's doing great. And now he's got Hellboy,
yep.
and so that's just I just think that's cool that all that is happening. Golden Globes are in January. I'm trying to look for when it's going to be. I didn't write it down. Anyways, but no Jake Gyllenhaal for 2049. 2049 got no nominations anywhere. The Big Sick.
Jake Gyllenhaal's not in 2049.
Isn't he the replicant? The
Jake Gyllenhaal? No.
So who's the? It's Harrison Ford, and
it's not Jake Gyllenhaal.
I swear it was Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Woody Harrelson.
I'll think of his name.
It's Woody Harrelson. But so nothing for 2049 across the board. Nothing for the big stick across the board.
Right.
A screenplay, actor, actress, anything in a comedy, musical, whatever. No female directors were nominated this year for anything.
Yeah.
Not Patty Jenkins, not Sofia Coppola for Detroit, like all that stuff. Nothing for Wonder Woman, nothing for Logan.
Yeah.
Get Out only got for Best Picture and
in a comedy
and an act in a comedy and Best Actor, but no screenplay, no
director,
and I think so. It's the Golden Globes, so I don't understand what they're doing.
I don't know.
I don't either. Speaking of 2049, it is coming out on digital on the 26th. Merry Christmas. And then the Blu-rays on January 16th. So there might have to be a double feature of the director's cut and then
all right,
and then 2049.
All right,
and maybe like a break in the middle because that's a lot. That's some heaviness going on. So when we got done with the show last week, and all the fun sound issues that we had, I went to go and edit the video together and upload it to YouTube and everything. And as that was all going, it broke while we were doing the show that Quentin Tarantino has an idea for a Star Trek movie. At which point I announced that we need to
redo the show, which we probably should have anyway.
Since
my sound wasn't working.
Technology sucks.
And the internet lost its mind.
So he was having a conversation, as you do, with your director buddies, like J.J. Abrams. And Quentin says, I have this idea for a Star Trek movie. And they kind of worked some stuff out. And J.J. went to Paramount and said, this sounds like a really good idea. I want to produce it. Quentin wants to be part of it somehow. And Paramount said, okay, let's put a writer's room together. And so they put a writer's room together, and they're kind of working out the details of what this. Now, there's no news on what the story itself is or where it exists. Is it in the Kelvin storyline? Is it in the Next Generation? Quentin is a big fan, but he's not like super versed in like all the minutia of lore.
Right. But the big thing is that Star Trek is not Star Wars. And so Star Trek, there's no canon. Like there is in Star Wars. Right. There's no, which is kind of why the fan stuff works so well. You can throw in some stuff that reminds you of, the shows or the movies and pay homage without people losing their minds. Oh my God, that's not canon from blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So they can do whatever. There was a lot of, they can't make it a rated R movie. And then Quentin said, I want to make it a rated R movie. And they went, yeah, sure. And now everybody's like, cool. Oh my God, they're making it a rated R movie. And that doesn't mean it's not
going to be super bloody, but there will be some.
People are losing their minds.
Well, it's the internet. Hello. The thing that some of the people on the internet did talk about was he's never done anything. He's never directed anything that wasn't his own material. That's wrong. He's done episodes of ER and CSI. He's also written material and had somebody else direct it.
The two episodes of CSI that he did are like
probably some of my favorite episodes.
I was
outside
of
being inside a box for 2 hours. It was, but he's done it before, and if it's something that he really is caring about wanting to do and everything, it's just I want him to do it.
I mean, Gene Roddenberry's family, kind of like the Broccoli's with the Bond stuff. Gene Roddenberry's family still has a lot of control over what happens with Star Trek and the name. So I don't, like I said, everybody's losing their minds, and I think they all need to calm down. I think it'll be fine.
There was some people saying it would bring some muster back to the franchise. I've liked the last 3 movies, the Kelvin storyline stuff. Apparently Star Trek Discovery ends up being really good, but it starts off really bad.
I'm still not paying for it.
I'm still not paying for it. I still want to see it, but I'm not paying for it, which is very hypocritical of us, by the way. But they had freaking Klingon sex, and they cussed because it was on All Access, right?
Yeah.
And so they've kind of blown the cover off of what would be rated R, and just if Martin Scorsese shows up, Scorsese shows up and says, "I want to do a Joker movie," what do you say?
Yes.
If Quentin Tarantino shows up and says, "I want to do a Star Trek movie," you say,
yes.
Where's the conversation? Two of the greatest directors on the planet right now want to do a comic book movie and a sci-fi movie. Yes!
Let them. What's it's not the end of the world.
And if it sucks, you just do what we do with the Highlander movies. There's the first one, the real second one, which is just a retelling of the first one, and then final whatever. The second one doesn't exist. It just it doesn't exist. So that's fine. It's fine.
Calm down.
Woosah. Rub your ears. Woosah. Okay. All right. So one last thing that we want to talk about, and that's the lawsuit that's been going on between San Diego Comic-Con and Salt Lake Comic-Con. Now, I've been reading some of what's been going on with this for a while. And last Friday, the jury came back with a decision that, so what essentially, as I understood everything that I read on it, was San Diego was suing Salt Lake Comic-Con for the use of Comic-Con. And San Diego uses San Diego Comic-Con, and Salt Lake uses Salt Lake, Space Con. Not like in space, but like a space. and so San Diego kind of got petty and sent a cease and desist order to Salt Lake. Salt Lake kind of started the whole thing by showing up in San Diego during Con Week with a Salt Lake Comic-Con car, driving around downtown. This is like 10-year-old, 12-year-old playground stuff, right?
It's like junior high.
Yeah. So San Diego sued for essentially like, it's not defamation, but it's the brand recognition.
Yeah.
They trademarked Comic-Con apparently at some point in time. And so the jury, Comic-Con, right,
is what they trademarked.
And we talked about it with some of our friends this weekend. And when you think of Comic-Con, you think of San Diego Comic-Con, right? That's just how their marketing's been. There's Rose City, there's Emerald City Comic-Con, there's Salt Lake Comic-Con, Phoenix Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. So there's different cons, and then there's other ones out there like Dragon Con and WonderCon and FanX and all that other stuff. And so the jury went to deliberation, came back. San Diego wanted $12 million in damages, lost revenue, whatever it was, from Salt Lake. And the jury said, Salt Lake's in the wrong, but they didn't do it on purpose. Like, they weren't intentionally going out and doing stuff.
Stealing people from your con to come to their con.
Right. And so the jury said $20,000.
That's a big difference.
It's like 2% or something like that. And then
don't do it again.
Yeah, pretty much. And the guys who run Salt Lake Comic-Con put a big thing out and said, we wanted to clear our names, that we weren't, I found no evidence of false designation of origin, whatever that means. They're going to pay the $20,000, but then they also pointed out that what about the other 140 other Comic-Cons that are out there? They got to sue them too. They were infringing. They were accused of infringing on the trademark of San Diego, but the Salt Lake was the only one, and so they kind of were fighting for everybody else. And Salt Lake has also asked for a what are they calling it? Repeal, desist of the trademark of Comic-Con for San Diego, because there's just other Comic-Cons out there, right? But in the grand scheme of things, the guys who ran Salt Lake came out and said, you know what, our bad for showing up at your con with our car with our advertising on it, and San Diego's like, you're a bunch of assholes, whatever. But I felt the whole thing was kind of stupid and petty.
It was.
And now there's all this discussion on about all these other Comic-Cons and how they have to change their names.
Well, you don't. You just can't have comic-con. You cannot trademark the word comic and the word con together. You just can't.
Right.
They trademarked comic-con.
Right.
So you don't have to do anything. If you have a dash, take the dash out.
Well, Phoenix
You're
actually
still Comic-Con.
Phoenix does COMICON.
Right. Comic-Con. Comic-Con.
Comic-On.
Yeah.
So, and there's other cons that kind of, but New York City doesn't, they don't have a hyphen, but they do New York City Comic-Con, NYCC.
Right.
And,
but they said that it's they called it something like general term or generic term or something like that.
right.
I mean, you can't just I'm going to trademark the word the, and every time you use the in your name, you're going to have to pay me. You can't do that.
Right.
And so it's going to come down to the same thing. You can't use comic-con. Fine.
Right.
But you can use Comic-Con as in 2 words, or Comic-Con like Phoenix does, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I can't say I understand how it got to this point, but I can see how it got to this point, and that's just people just being greedy motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some, Salt Lake has gotten pretty big. They've gotten some really big.
It's not even the biggest. This is the thing that kills me is we would love to go to Salt Lake for Comic-Con. We'd love to go to San Diego Comic-Con. The biggest con is New York. So they limit it in San Diego, and they're starting to get the idea of limiting it in Salt Lake. And Phoenix is actually bigger than Salt Lake and Comic-Con too. So, well, maybe not this last year, but the year before that, they were bigger. And so...
Yeah, but attendance, I'm not talking attendance-wise. I'm talking about the names that they bring in and the attention that they get.
That's true. Okay, yeah. Yeah. San Diego does... They are... It's not really a Comic-Con in San Diego anymore. It's more of a...
Movie industry.
It's industry con.
Yeah.
With all the TV shows showing up and
right.
and everybody.
Right.
So just some petty bullshit, but at least that part got resolved, and now we can move on to everything else. So what do you guys think of this week's episode? Have you seen Three Billboards? Are you as upset about the Golden Globes as I am?
No,
She doesn't care. I just want people to be recognized for good works, and I think some people got
Who cares about the Golden Globes?
Not really. Now if the directors Guild Awards or whatever, that's if you get snubbed in that one, then there's some bullshit going on, because that one's a big boy one, probably bigger than the Golden Globes. So tell us what you thought of Three Billboards, the Ready Player One trailer, all this stuff about the Comic-Con stuff. Please like this video and leave us a comment about all the things that we talked about this week. Go up and hit the subscribe button. Make it turn from gray to red. It's pretty awesome. It makes you go to the dark side because it makes it red. No. You can get a hold of us on Facebook too, or the Pop Culture Cult. We're PopCultureCult1 on Instagram, or at Pop_Cult1 on Twitter. You can also download the Stardust app, like the Pop Culture Cult first. It gives you a chance to react to everything that you're watching, the trailers, all the movies you're watching, all the TV shows. Download it. Watch us first. Follow us first.
Yep. Do it.
And until next time, good night now.